Hello and welcome to Local Food Online Sales How-To. My name is Patty Cantrell and I'm with the New Growth Community Development Corporation in West Central Missouri. And we are home to the Start Here Business Acceleration Network. It's a lot of partners in our region working together to build a thriving region. And one of the main areas we're looking at is how we can build up our local food farmers and markets. Not just farmers markets, but also wholesale markets. And we have a great resource in Katie Nixon, who is a farmer and is very involved in the Kansas City Food Hub and works at our partner organization, West Central Missouri Community Action, as the food systems director there. And so we're excited to have Katie bring some information to you today, and we want to stay in touch. We'll follow up. There's some great things coming up, like our Farm to Fork Summit in February. We're going to have a lot of great resources there. And again, I want to also mention, we were going to save time for questions later, so put them in the question session for us, and we'll also have a poll for you shortly. So I'll give it over to Katie right now.
Well, hello, everybody. So we're going to get started here, but before we do, it looks like we have just a few participants, and I think we were going to do a poll, but I think what would work best is in the chat box, if you could indicate your organization that you work for or your business name, and then maybe which city or state you're from, if you're from out of the country, what country you're from, and then what your occupation is, so that I get a feel for where to direct my comments. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here. I think. There we go. Okay. Hooray. Okay. And now I can't see the chat, but that's okay. We'll look at that. There we go. Lansing, Kansas. All right, Bill. Thanks for adding that in. Are you a farmer? There we go. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get started here. As Patty introduced me, I am a farmer and a food systems director, and I also work with the Kansas City Food Hub. My expertise, I guess, would be in small farming, where I worked as an extension agent for Lincoln University for about 7 years, and we developed the preliminary baseline for our food hub development, which is now a fully functioning business with 20 grower members. I also have been running a farm with my husband for almost 10 years now. We are a certified organic farm in Wheatland, Missouri. And then I have been running the food systems program at West Central for about 5 years. So we're going to move on here with the presentation. So I want to give some context just of the work that I do, and then we're going to go into some real specifics about online sales and how to. But we are building we are focused on a regional effort to build local food businesses in rural areas. A lot of times I think there's a disconnect between what can be produced in a rural area with the markets themselves. And so we really try to help build and bridge the market demand with what's being grown in the region. So we have opened up new markets for producers and have moved thousands of dollars worth of food to new markets for farmers in the region. And we hope to help to build a more robust infrastructure, because one of the issues is actually moving that food around can cost quite a bit of money. So we are working on that infrastructure. And we do that with collaborations, and specifically Farm to Fork is an opportunity for us to really, emphasize the work we do and to celebrate it. So in February is when it'll be our third annual. Unfortunately, it will not be in person this year, but it will be virtual. And hopefully we may even get a wider audience out of that. But it'll be in February, the first 3 Tuesdays in February. from 3 to 5 in the afternoon. We'll have a plenary session with some breakouts, and it's a really great opportunity to learn about what's going on in our region and be inspired by some of the food system work happening in Missouri and Kansas. We work on some pretty big projects in our food system program. The Beginning Farmer Development Project, we're helping those farmers scale up and get access to markets. And then our local food promotion program project is working on the food value chain up and down the I-49 corridor. And another thing that we really try to do is tell our farmers stories. So, all right, cool. I see here in the chat, we've got an entrepreneur student from UMKC. Right on, right on. My mom got her law degree at UMKC. She's one of 5 women in her class, so that's pretty cool. And okay, especially catering operations. And right on. Okay, so let's move on with our presentation. E-commerce, you got to do it. I mean, there's no other way. You know, before it was like, if you don't have a website, you don't exist. Now, if you don't have an online store, you basically don't exist. So Barn to Door is one of the platforms we're going to talk about today, but one of the headlines on their website is that 1 in 3 Americans ordered food online last month. That is up like exponentially. I think e-commerce amounted for something like 10 to 15% of online sales for grocery sales in early 2019, and it was growing. It was definitely a growing number of people shopping online, but obviously COVID changed things very, very quickly, and so the projection, you know, that was going like this suddenly popped up, and everybody was online trying to order. And so we were lucky, my farm was lucky in the sense that we were actually moving away from going to farmers markets and focusing on our online sales in 2019. So we were well positioned to be accepting online orders and having that system up and running, because it is a system. I mean, you have to really work on building a platform that customers can easily use, but more importantly, that you can easily use as the entrepreneur, because the back end is just as important as the functionality for your customers. So the Fair Share CSA Coalition is an organization, a nonprofit that's been doing some great work for farmers in terms of the online platform analyzing. They have this spreadsheet that they've put up and comparing all the different platforms for small farmers. And I will be talking mostly about farming in terms of the online sales, but they could be translated to other businesses as well. So that's a good resource there if you want to dive deeper into what some farmers are saying about each of the platforms. I was kind of surprised that Barn to Door got such the lower rating that it got, but I guess I'm not, because of the price. But they have actually improved quite a bit since this reading was done a couple of months ago. So I wanted to share that resource. And today we're going to be talking about Barn to Door, Square, and also local food marketplace. So we also did a webinar, New Growth and West Central together did a webinar on taking your food online. And in there, we have farmers talking about each of their platforms and how they liked them. So that is a recording on YouTube that you can go and watch. It's available. It was done in April. And so we covered WooCommerce, Gravecart, Barn to Door, Square, Squarespace, local food marketplace, and Shopify in that one. So the 3 platforms I'm going to talk about today, like I said, will go from easiest to advanced, and we'll talk about Square, Barn to Door, and local food marketplace. Okay, so Square is a really, really easy to set up. It is basically generic. It's a generic web store. It's very secure. You can actually build a website from Square, or you can also have it integrated into your own website. I believe the cost is a percentage of your sales, but there are also advanced settings, that famous upgrade button. You can always choose a higher plan. it can feel very generic. Most of the Square websites I've seen are very static, and like you can see this one on the screen is another farm's web page, and they don't have any pictures. You can definitely put pictures on, but they didn't put pictures up there. So, that makes it sort of boring for the consumer. But that's not to say you can't make it look nicer. Definitely, if you put pictures on, it'll look a lot nicer. And it's not very customizable. So another farmer that I work with had a Square store. They were scrambling to keep up with online demand during the beginning of COVID. And so they quickly got a Square store together, and throughout the season just fumbled around with it a lot and decided to move to Barn to Door as a platform instead because of the way that it helped them be organized. Our farm looked into the online store, and we do have a Square account because I think Square is a really easy to use point of sale device as well. Those Square readers, you see them all over the place in coffee shops or at farmers markets. They have a really nice platform to use. It's very user friendly, but this is kind of what the back end looks like when you're building your item library to go up on the web store. And in terms of reporting, which I like to see the reports, we're a certified organic farm, so reporting and keeping track of our records is a really big part of our farm. And it's nice when the tools you use can integrate into the things that you need them to do. This is an example of a farmer's market we did last year in April. I can go to Square at any time and look at those reports and analyze them. You can see that on the left side of the screen, there are lots of ways to recategorize the sales for that day. And it helps me understand. I can even look at the whole year at different items, and we even do it with our cash. And I'm getting a little bit off topic here, but this is, if you are a vendor at a public Square, it's really nice to be able to keep track of your sales in this way. And so even cash sales, we entered into the Square app at the point of sale, and we were able to analyze our sales at the end of each day and know kind of how the day went. So in terms of user friendliness, I give Square a big thumbs up. In terms of customizability, is that a word? I give them, maybe a 5 because it really is kind of a generic platform. Okay, so this is the platform that we use on our farm for our online sales, and I was hesitant at first because of the price tag for the store. So I think you have to sort of decide if you're just starting out. You may want the fanciest model, but you might have to choose something simpler while your business is gains more traction and momentum, and you can justify spending the money on a fancier platform. It has lots of tech support and onboarding. I basically gave them my list of products, and they populated them all on the website, which was a ton of time that I didn't have to do it because it was right in the middle of the season that we did it. So that was great. They are constantly adapting to the needs of their customers. So they check in with us as farmers and say what's working, what's not working, and then they take that back to their team and they decide, prioritize what they're going to work on to fix and make better. And so they have done a lot of great feature upgrades since we've participated for the last year. They also have some good customizable features specifically for farm products like meat, where you don't necessarily know, you're not going to list, like if you have 10 different roasts and they're all different sizes, you don't necessarily want to list every single roast as an individual item. You just want to list a roast. And so then they can make a deposit and then they can, basically once you pick out whichever roast they're going to get, then it charges their card for the exact amount of that poundage. And I'll show you that in a minute to make a little more sense. It's pretty adaptable to my needs in terms of my products. There are a few things that are annoying, but I'll get to those in a second. And the back end organization, like downloading the spreadsheets for the sales, is pretty great. The cons, a Barn to Door has seen a like exponential increase in their customer base. And so they have had a lot of turnover in the last year and have been trying to hire a lot as well. And so I feel like their customer service was not as good this year, towards the end of the year as it had been. And I think that was just because they were overwhelmed. It can feel expensive sometimes. I believe it's $70. No, excuse me. It's $50 a month. And so our average sales a week in peak season is $400. And, so for me, that's okay. But if your sales are, around $100 a week, you're only like $400 a month, then $50 can feel a little expensive. So keep that in mind. There's also no sales tax integration at the moment. They're working on it, I've heard, but it's taking them quite a while. So, you got to figure out that sales tax. And I still am kind of a little confused about how Missouri tracks that or wants us to track that. We, at the farmer's market, we would collect sales tax on top of the price, just like every other business out there, and then remit that sales tax to the state. In this case, it has to be integrated into our price because I can't get it to work in the cart. And it's not housed inside my website. So if someone goes to my website and wants to go shopping, they get taken out into the Barn to Door app, which is, I don't know, it's either a con or a pro. I'm not really sure. There's some interesting features about that. I'll talk about that in a minute. So this is our site on Barn to Door. You can see some of the features. There's at the top, there's a banner that kind of gives the customer a little baseline of who you are in case they did not come to that website to the store via your website. They'll get a little bit more information from that banner. You can also put sales. We've done sales banners up there, and those are pretty popular. You can change the color of that banner, so that's a customizable thing at the top there. And then, of course, they can always go back to your website via that link there. And then one other feature that I like about it is that the customers can sort via the categories, because in the spring we have, 50 to 60 different plants for sale on our website. And if someone's looking for produce and not plants, they can pick that, they can filter out. So it's pretty user-friendly on that end, and we have not had really any customer complaints. There's a couple of times when maybe the app hasn't been functioning properly and, they were upgrading or something when the customer was shopping and something happened. But you can see down on the bottom in that little, on the bottom right, there's a little chat icon. And so Barn to Door staff is during business hours chatting with customers if they're having issues. And I've had customers ask questions with that chat, and that Barn to Door staff member will text me and say, hey, I've got a customer asking about sold out duck eggs. Do you think you'll have more next week? And then they'll let that customer know. So that's pretty cool. That doesn't happen very often for us, but it's nice to know that someone's fielding those questions from customers so they're not bouncing off your page. So yeah, and you can, update your inventory throughout the week. There's no like off time where you can't mess with your inventory for customers. So, okay, we'll go to the next page. So the other thing about Barn to Door is you can have multiple pickup locations and multiple days for pickup. There's no restriction on how many of those you can have or how many places you can have. To my knowledge, I haven't tried more than 5, so maybe there is a limit. But you can see here we have 3 different pickup locations on 2 different days. The farm pickups on Fridays and the other 2 pickups are on Saturdays. So the customer can pick one of the locations, and then that's where their product will be picked up. Supposedly they could pick 2 different locations, but nobody's ever done that before. So I don't know why they would. And then, like I said, the back end is really important as well. So this is what I see on my side. The customer does not see this. You can see up the top all the different places where you can go to work on the storefront. But this is where I look at my orders and where I can download the spreadsheet where the orders will be listed. I get a pack list, which basically just lists all the items that I need to pick, and then I get a I get a pick list, which lists all the items I need to pick, and then I get a pack list, which customizes the customer's name and their contact information and what they ordered, so that when I go to pack each farmer bag or box, I can look at that and make sure I'm getting the right things in their boxes. And you can see here, those are 2 different days. If you had multiple, like if you had 4 or 5 different days you were packing, you would see them generated in each day there. And this is the dashboard. I guess one thing I'd say about Barn to Door is it's not really great on running reports. This is about as sophisticated as their reporting system goes. I can go and into the orders section and say I want all the orders from November 15th to, November 18th, and or let's say April 15th to November 15th, and I download that into a very clunky spreadsheet. But I can't, what I can't do on Barn to Door is say, how many carrots did I sell in 2020? How many bunches of carrots did I sell in 2020? That they don't have that ability at the moment. So I've asked them to work on that, and who knows what kind of priority, if other farmers have asked for that or not, but I have heard that they're trying to work on their running reports on the back end there. So you can do promos. So that's something that we did. We also had a Wix store on our Wix website, wix.com. And that one was very clunky. And it was, I think, $300 a year. Maybe it was a little less, but it was really clunky on the back end, and I had a really hard time with it, and I wasted a ton of time trying to get orders together. So thankfully, this system with more than 10 orders, like we were having 40 orders during the spring when COVID was peaking. And so, trying to get 40 orders together while, having a clunky back end system can just eat up so much time. So you can think about that in your pricing is like, is this going to save me a couple hours? Well, what's that worth to me? And there was at one point last year, or in 2019, when we signed up for Barn to Door, I was a little concerned because, they were really pressing me hard to do the sell. And I was like, I wonder if they're desperate. I don't want them to go under, like while I'm using them as my platform. But it turns out that I don't have to worry about that anymore, because now they're going gangbusters and doing really well. So that's good. They also have a lot of farmer support on their website. They do free farmer conferences and tutorials there. So I will say they're a pretty supportive business for farmers. I mean, that's their business, so they better be. But I have overall satisfaction with Barn to Door. And this is what I was talking about with the bulk pricing, with the varied pricing. You can also do bulk pricing too. But basically, the customer will go in and choose that item, and then your item will have a weight range, so that they know that the customer knows it's not going to go over this price and it won't go under this price, but they basically put a deposit down on that item. And that would be where, it might be a roast or a whole chicken, or even, cauliflower, which this says cauliflower. I can usually work it so that it comes to a pound, because I have enough pieces to choose from to make it that, but you could also do it that way if you wanted to, and then you enter the price later when you know what the price is, and then it charges that customer's card. So that's pretty handy, especially for the meat producers out there. Okay, so we're going to switch here and talk about local food marketplace. And so I am the president of the board of the Kansas City Food Hub, which is a cooperative of growers. We're about 20 growers strong right now. And so we're all working together to sell into the wholesale market. And this year has been totally different. So we now have a retail market as well. But essentially, it's all wholesale for all intents and purposes, because even though the Food Hub is selling retail farm boxes, the farmer themselves is still selling to the Food Hub at a wholesale price. So the Food Hub was working with spreadsheets before pre-local food marketplace, and quite honestly, it was taking up probably 5 hours of our staff members' time just to organize the spreadsheets for the orders every week. And so we decided to invest in local food marketplace. And I say invest because it is expensive. I think it was a $4,200 investment up front. And every year it's actually close to that. I think it's about $370 a month. But when you're working with 20 different growers and trying to get everybody's availability and, 20 different buyers all making different kinds of orders, and then now we have the neighborhood farm shares, which is another 300 customers. You really need something more sophisticated. And like I said, these could go in steps. Like if your business starts off with Square or something like Squarespace, which is also kind of a more simple platform, you can always upgrade. It will take time, just like everything else. But this is probably this is the advanced model right here is local food marketplace. And there is other more complicated software above local food marketplace that would even be more expensive and more complicated. But it is a pretty robust set of online systems, very customizable to your business. When you get onboarded, they basically build you what you need on your homepage. The farmers are updating their own inventory in local food marketplace, so they each get a login and with their own farm, and then they're the ones in charge of making sure that their availability is up to date, so that when the buyers come on the website, they see what is available. And so if you don't update your availability, then obviously you're not going to sell anything. So that's on you as a farmer. Except for, of course, we have Amish farmers, and so our staff then updates the availability for them. Like I said, it's a robust software, and it also has a great back-end reporting system, and that we use a lot for understanding our sales and our books and looking back at the year and the month or the week or whatever it is to sort of analyze how the business is going. Highly functional and has lots of add-ons. And when I say add-ons, they have like inventory tracking. Our Food Hub does not keep inventory, so we did not purchase that add-on. They have traceability tracking for food safety. They have also a Routify. It's a routing add-on that you can purchase, and it'll basically, like if you're doing a lot of deliveries, it'll help you sort your route out. So there's a lot there to sort of sort through. It's got a QuickBooks integration feature. Again, the cons, it's pretty expensive for what it is. I mean, not what it is. It's probably priced reasonably, but if you are a small farm, I would not suggest starting out with local food marketplace. If you are farmers working together or businesses working together, then maybe you would choose this software. It's a little complicated to set up and understand. We have staff that still doesn't fully understand the whole functionality of it, so we're constantly working on building it to the degree that it's most useful. And we found some issues with selling our neighborhood farm share CSA style product. So we're actually looking at pulling away that particular product and putting it on a different platform, but keeping the whole integration of how the farmers are selling and buying through local food marketplace. This is the storefront here. Hope they make you hungry, a little cheese in the afternoon. This is a local producer who does some fantastic raw milk cheese. Anyways, I got distracted there. So this is the storefront here for the dairy and egg section. This is where our wholesale buyers make orders. And you can see, if I was logged in when I took this screenshot, you would actually see the prices there. And then if I clicked on one of these drop-down menus, I would see how many were available. So that's what the customer sees. And then up here, you can pick delivery period. And basically there's an order period and it closes at a certain time. And then all the farmers are sent automatic messages about what their pick list is for the week. And then they have obligation to get it to a sub hub that we've designated to them at the beginning of the season. This is the back end here. I've blacked out private information for the business, but you can see that it sort of gives you an idea of a snapshot of the week, of the year. If I were scrolling down, this was the actual web page, there'd be quite a bit more information below about what was happening for the week and the products available. And then this is our, I can also go to the producers tab and look at all my producers. I can see where their aggregation location is. I can see if they have any orders during the period. I can see what their revenue was, and I can see what their yearly revenue was. We use this a lot when running reports for our annual meeting so that we can give everybody an overview of what was sold where and who sold what. So again, like I said, the back end is very robust. This is all the different items I could run a report on. And I use the sales one most of all because that's basically what we're doing with it is we're selling stuff, but it has a lot more functionality than we probably use. And so there are other, as we grow, as our business grows, as the Food Hub grows, I believe that the functionality and our understanding of the functionality will grow as well. This is my personal Greengate Family Farm page where I go into Local Food Marketplace and I can update my availability here and add items and add pictures to my items and add descriptions. And then I can also come here and look at my pick list for the week. I can look at, I can also run reports just for my farm if I want. So the farmers themselves are able to run their own reports. They can't run reports on the whole business, but they can run reports on what has been ordered from their farm. We can also enter the tags that they're supposed to put on the boxes that are ordered so that our drivers know which box goes, like they can grab the box that says XIO 3, and then they know that's going to one customer. And so our farmers get that information through this website as well. So logistically, it's a very handy tool. Some things to keep in mind for online. If you don't offer free shipping, you should. you should consider it anyways. So we don't ship anything because all of our stuff is fresh produce, but if you are considering shipping items in an online store, just build that into your pricing and try to make it so that it doesn't feel so painful to ship the products, because people they got spoiled by Amazon and all the other companies. And so if you don't offer free shipping, a lot of times people bounce off your page when they get to the cart. So try to build that into your pricing. And that would be my advice there. Also taxes, like if you can't collect sales tax at the end in your cart, then try to build that into your pricing because it adds up. I mean, for Kansas City, sales tax is like 6%. On food. On retail, it's like 9 or 10%. And so 10% of your sales is, a big chunk of money, as is the credit card fees. So most people are paying with credit cards in the online system, and that's 3%, a minimum of 3% of your price. So if you think about taxes and the cost of shipping and, your credit card fees, in the end, it's like, wow, I'm only getting like 70% of the price I put on my website. So think about that when you're pricing your items. And then door-to-door delivery, I put that on there because when we first started our web page, our web store with the online system, we're like, yeah, we're going to deliver all these things and we're going to offer that to our customers. And we ended up spending 2 hours delivering on a Saturday. And I was like, I don't want to do this. So it didn't work for our attitude, but it might work for yours. You don't have to offer door-to-door delivery as long as you have a decent distribution place. If you don't live in the area, like we use my brother's driveway, but in Kansas City, which is 2 hours from our farm, but you could pick a public location and say you're going to be there for 2 hours, and that's where you pick it up. And people respond okay to that. If you absolutely need to arrange delivery, like you can do it, but I really think people need to think about door-to-door delivery. Sort of goes with free shipping. It's like, okay, well, this can be my whole business, just delivering stuff. And then thinking about how the online shopping platform integrates with the tools you use for your business. I use a lot of spreadsheets, and so, obviously that's a universal thing where when you're downloading information, when I'm downloading the information from Barn to Door, it goes into a spreadsheet, and then I can just populate my pick list and integrate it in with my CSA, because that is one thing that Barn to Door doesn't offer. Our CSA, which is the subscription box service, I do that separate from the website. There are websites and online stores that will help organize your CSA and your harvest lists electronically and integrate into your online sales, but I haven't worked with those systems, so I couldn't speak to those. I hear Harvey, though. Harvey is one of the systems that are popular with CSA growers. But yeah, like integrating with QuickBooks or, like your routing systems, think about that as well. And then we're here to help. We have a mentor program for beginning farmers. And if you go to the growinggrowers.org website / farmer mentor program, we have a list of fantastic farmers. I think there's about 15 of them who are paid to help our beginning farmers scale up. And some of them do have online e-commerce experience. One of them is the speaker at our, two of them were speakers on our new growth online sales webinar. One developed a WooCommerce site, which is an open source site that you need maybe an expert to help you develop, but once you get it up and running, there's no cost to it. And then, except for the credit card fees, obviously. And then, so we have help there. And then we also technical assistance. I am more than happy to field phone calls or help other farmers get their stuff up and running. And then the platform companies themselves, Barn to Door has probably provided me with over 20 hours of technical assistance since we started with them. So don't be afraid to use that, because that's what they get paid for. And my contact information is there. And I guess I will see if you guys have any questions.